Welcome to The Shoreline, brought to you by Shores and Islands, Ohio, where finding your Lake Erie love is a sure thing. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Jill Bauer, PR Manager for Shores and Islands, Ohio. We bring you The Shoreline every week to give you the inside scoop on what's happening here in our island and coastal communities. Continuing our celebration of Women's History Month, we are talking to and about local kick-butt women, many of them who work for Shores and Islands, Ohio. So please welcome back to the program, Amanda Smith Rasnick, Destination Engagement Director for Shores and Islands, Ohio. You may remember we had Amanda on an episode last year where we talked to a whole slate of destination development grant recipients, as she is the driver of that grant program for our organization. So welcome to the show, Amanda.
Hi, Jill. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So if you don't mind, can you tell the listeners a little bit about your job and what you do at Shores and Islands, Ohio?
Yeah, absolutely. My job as Destination Engagement Director it's extremely fun, and it is kick butt, right? Like, I think you referred to me as a kick butt woman. And here at Shores and Islands, I lead an awesome team who will welcome the visitors to the destination, and that's by our team at both welcome centers. And then we also work directly with our partners to make sure that they are engaged with Shores and Islands, and also making sure that our residents are obviously enjoying what an awesome place that we have too. So while the sales and marketing team is actively talking to those potential visitors to the area, our team is welcoming them, and it's fantastic. So fun.
Oh, good. How long have you been with Shores? I know the answer to this, I guess, for the listener. How long have you been with Shores and Islands, Ohio, and what were you doing before you were working with us?
Sure. I have been with Shores and Islands in a couple different capacities for about 16 years now. And it's definitely where I needed to land with my career. Before this, I have a degree in psychology. I went to Miami University, and I didn't want to go that direction. And I ended up working in sales at a beauty counter at Elder Beerman here in Sandusky, which, hey, I was good at the sales. And then from there, I worked in sales at Allied Waste, which I believe now is called Republic. And then from there, I went into Kalahari, into their group sales department, and loved it there. And in a industry event, I met Joan Van Offeren, who was the director at the time, and Dawn Weinhardt, who is still here today. And here we are.
Well, that is a perfect transition, because you were already working for Kalahari was your introduction to the travel and tourism space. And then you got to transition to the job here. So working in travel and tourism, what are some of your favorite parts of the job?
In my current position, my favorite parts of the job are meeting with our partners and seeing how we can help them. I think it's really cool how many awesome places to visit, restaurants to eat in, different places to enjoy a beverage. I mean, being out on an incredible body of water. I think that that's probably my favorite part, is getting to meet those partners and getting to experience what they have to offer. I do have a fond love of Kelly's Island. I was married over there, and while I did say I love every place, Kelly's does hold a special place in my heart.
Oh, that's perfect. I will also add, as part of your job, I mentioned the Destination Development Grant Program, and, basically you get to work directly with a lot of partners on, making improvements and really changing their lives, as far as having funds to, either create a business or improve a business, and you get to be the person that tells them, hey, we've got money, we're going to help you with, this. I imagine that's probably pretty rewarding as well.
Yes, that's an extremely rewarding part of my job. I have sat since 2022 with multiple different business owners, and I've seen tears come from the dollars that we're able to give to folks, hugs from people who I never thought would want to give me a hug. But yeah, it's pretty incredible then to actually see those projects come to fruition fruition and visit them. There's a little bit of a privilege there to know that, we were able to make those people's dream come true. But to also know that there's some really cool projects in the work that I get to know about a little bit ahead of time. So
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say now we all know internally that Amanda knows what's going on because, a lot of times, people that are businesses, groups that are applying for grants for the purpose of creating something new or, adding some new exhibit or making some improvement to their business. So Amanda luckily gets to be in the know, and that's a pretty special part of the job as well. I know another thing that you and your team do is go out into the communities and host coffee. Do you think you call them coffee chats with the different partners and things in the community? So you really get to be out and about and knowing, what's going on in Vermilion, in Milan, in Oak Harbor, all of the different places along the way.
Yes. Yeah. Our destination team is boots on the ground all the time. So our visitor services team, visitor experience team, they are out in the community with Vanna, our mobile kiosk at different parades and events, which is so cool. And then, you did refer to the community chat. So our partner team, they are going into those communities, hosting events where folks from different businesses, it could also just be a person who wants to know a little bit more about Shores and Islands and just enjoy some coffee, learn about all the good things that we are doing and bringing into their community.
Yeah. And you get to, I know you also go and do a lot of presentations and to local organizations to kind of share that exactly what Shores and Islands is up to and how, different businesses, organizations can, really benefit from partnering with us and from working with us. And we really appreciate that you do that for this organization. You did mention your specific love for Kelly's Island. Are there any other local favorite places since you live and work in Shores and Islands, Ohio? Are there any other local places that you want to shout out that you hang out at or like to frequent?
Oh my gosh. I try to experience something new all the time, but sometimes you do have those go-tos. I do love a good martini from Crush or from J Bistro, which I can walk to from my house downtown. I also just love strolling along the Sandusky Bay pathway and catching a sunset and, walking my dog and running into, another neighbor that lives down here, another business owner. So I think that those would be the things that I, really enjoy about living downtown and being a part of this organization.
And we are going to be talking in a minute here with another guest from the Sandusky Book Bar. And I know that you have been known to go there as well. You were telling me yesterday about a puzzle race.
Yes, it is so fun. You could probably hear the excitement in my voice. Yes, it is possible to get excited over puzzles. And we have a group of friends. I shout out to Erica and a shout out to Meg and Aaron and Mindy. Aaron actually works for the city of Sandusky. During the inaugural puzzle race at Book Bar, we won in record time. And then just last night, we completed again and won again. So, and a 500-piece puzzle done in less than an hour. I mean, come on. Here we go with another group of kick butt women who just had a great time drinking wine and doing some puzzles.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for joining me today, Amanda. Now we are going to turn the page and talk to another local lady, and I can't wait to hear her story. So today on the show, we have the honor of learning about a fairly new local business from a female entrepreneur, Janie Ahner. Janie was born and raised in Sandusky, graduated from Perkins High School, and went to Auburn University in Alabama for college. After graduating, Janie moved around the U.S., working in healthcare IT for about 10 years, which coincidentally she still does today. I don't know how she handles both things, but before she settled back into Ohio, Ohio in 2023 to start renovations to turn a space in the old YMCA building out on Perkins Avenue in Sandusky into what is now the Sandusky Book Bar. So welcome to the program, Janie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course, I'm so happy to learn your story. So I'm curious, coming from the world of IT, what in the world inspired you to open a bookstore in the first place?
That is such a good question, and I ask myself that almost every single day. My brothers and I actually bought the building a couple years after the YMCA closed back in 2019, and they needed a bit more space for their own business. And we realized that we had this front space sitting completely empty, and it was just this gorgeous front space with these beautiful windows and was just a prominent area on Perkins Ave. And I was a little interested in branching out of really my day-to-day work and trying something a little bit different. And I had worked in restaurants my entire life, so I thought, why not give it a shot? So it started as kind of the bookstore and coffee shop part and ended up bringing in the bar part as well, just after doing a little bit more research into what's going on in Sandusky and the surrounding area.
So I'm curious then, what is your brother's business and what was it about the YMCA building itself that made you guys think that that was going to be a great location for your enterprise?
My brothers run a commercial doors and windows business called Ahner Commercial Doors and Windows. And they were working out of a pretty small place in Port Clinton, and they just grew a little bit too big for the space that they were in. And when we realized the YMCA was for sale, we figured, we'll find some way to fill the space. So we thought we'd start there.
So did you start out with the concept of, I want to open a bookstore, or did you look around the area and kind of process what was missing? Did you come up with that from kind of the backwards entrance?
You know what? That's a good question. I kind of came in it from the back. I had been living in Boston and Cleveland before I moved to Sandusky, and I had come across these concepts of bookstores with wine bars in them.
Okay.
And I love books, and I love wine, and I love coffee, so I figured, I'll take a look around, see what's going on in Sandusky these days, what's going on in the south side of Sandusky specifically, and outside of that downtown area, and it just seemed like there was an opportunity there.
Well, and I think also there's not an independent bookstore really that I'm aware of. We just have the chains.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of either. So that was pretty exciting, I think, for a lot of folks, especially who don't want to spend, $20 on a book.
Yeah, absolutely. So your business is called Sandusky Book Bar. It's a store and cafe. Do you sell new books, used books, combination? What are you selling book-wise?
So we primarily sell used books, though we do have a small collection of local author books that are new. So I work with, at this point, I think 20 or so local authors to shelf their books and kind of advertise for them a little bit.
And where did you source your used books from?
At the beginning, it was a lot of my own time and research spent kind of going to and from different locations. At this point, we primarily run off of donations.
Oh, very cool. So people can still come and bring you additional books when they're done reading them?
Yep, exactly.
Oh, I did not know that. That's good to know because I have a lot of books that
I can find a home for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So when customers come into your facility, do you require them to make a purchase or, can they just come and peruse the books that you have?
We have a lot of folks that come and just take a look around the bookstore. So we don't require a purchase by any means, though obviously it is encouraged. But we do have folks that just want to see what we've got on the shelves.
Gotcha. Because especially in a used bookstore, you never know what you might come across. You might just be perusing and come across something. Oh, I remember this book that I read way back when, or this title that, I've been meaning to read and just haven't been able to do. So the concept that you also serve drinks, you said that was inspired by a similar business that you visited in Boston?
Yeah, so I had lived kind of close to this bookstore / wine bar in Boston, and I just loved the concept of it. So when I was building out my plan for this, I initially started with coffee because in my mind, a coffee and a book go together really well. But
Absolutely.
Then I got to thinking about that location in Boston. And I was like, ooh, who doesn't love to have a glass of wine or a little cocktail while they're reading a book too? So it kind of shifted and grew a little bit.
And you do both. So I love that.
Yeah, exactly. There's something for everyone.
You can hang out all day.
And we have people who do.
Do you offer like food or snacks or anything like that?
We have cheese and meat boards, and bagels that come from New York. So we have those kinds of kind of small dishes, and we also have baked goods through Bakery.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Do you sell any other products besides books and baked goods?
We do. We have a whole section with merchandise that's Sandusky Book Bar branded. We also sell candles from a local candle maker, Storybook Candle Company. And she does kind of book-themed candles, so it fits in really nicely with my whole shindig. And we also have a flower cooler with flowers that are procured through Patio Pushers by Mandy out of Norwalk.
Oh yeah, familiar. She does great work. So you can stop by and grab a coffee, read a book for a little bit, and then walk out with maybe a gift for somebody or some flowers to brighten your home.
Exactly.
So your facility is also set up so that it can be used as an event venue. What kind of events can you guys host there, and what services do you offer to those kinds of parties?
We have hosted at this point a plethora of events. We've had everything from wedding receptions to actually very small micro weddings. We've had baby showers, bridal showers, birthdays. We're hosting things that are kind of like NPR's Tiny Desk over the next couple of months. So our event options are kind of endless, which is very fun. And I think what we offer when it comes to events is the space already having its own vibe, if you will.
Yeah.
A lot of time folks are looking for something that just kind of fits what they're interested in, and the book bar fits that. So that's what a lot of folks are renting the space out for, is that vibe. We do offer the ability to do light catering with our cheese boards and our bagels, desserts through Bakery, flower arrangements through Patio Pushers by Mandy. But otherwise, we allow folks to bring in their own catering and their own decorations and things like that.
And you also have outdoor patio space in season, right?
We do, thanks to Shores and Islands, actually. Last year,
I wasn't trying to get that.
Yeah. No, it's an excellent call out. It would not have been possible without Shores and Islands through their grant program. But we put together this stunning patio. I'm so proud of it and the way it turned out. And I think so far people have really enjoyed it. I'm hoping to take more advantage of it this year than we were able to last year, with kind of getting it done a little bit into summer. Yeah. So I think this year is going to be a big patio summer, hopefully.
And that also is part of the rental space. So somebody could have a shower or, a small event on your patio space.
Yep, exactly.
Now, when somebody has an event with you, do you schedule those when you're not open to the public, or do they rent out the whole facility, or do you just put them in a corner, or how does that work?
We've done both after hours and during hours. And if it happens to be during open hours, we just close down. We consider it a private event. So we'll close down to the public and have just the folks who are there for that private event able to be in the location.
Gotcha. You guys also host a lot of regular events. I know you're on our events calendar pretty regularly with things like trivia nights, and sometimes you have some bigger special events, author events, things like that. Can you walk us through what some of those regular weekly events are, and maybe some of the other special things that you might have coming up?
Sure. We do weekly bingo on Wednesdays and trivia on Fridays, though with the summer, those dates might shift a little bit, but bingo especially has been immensely popular lately. It turns out people love listening to someone yell numbers at them. And every month, at the end of the month, we do a puzzle race where we give everyone the same puzzle and we just race to see who can finish it first. And we also do themed trivia. So this month's themed trivia is tomorrow, and it's A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is a popular fantasy book series right now.
So most of your themed nights are based on book series or novels or things like that, fandoms?
Kind of fandoms, yeah. We've done Harry Potter, we're planning Game of Thrones, we've done Lord of the Rings. So it really just depends, but pretty much fandom type popularity.
So what was it about Sandusky? Did you just want to be back in your hometown, or did you think that Sandusky looked like a good market for your business? What made you open here in Sandusky?
I actually moved back to Sandusky after I had already started kind of kicking the renovation process off. So moving back came later.
Oh, really?
But
so
I had always
manage it from afar.
I was for a little bit, and it turns out that's actually not that possible for the beginning of a business. So I learned a couple lessons along the way, but it was always kind of in my plans to move home. All my family's here, so it's just nice to be closer to everyone.
Absolutely. So that actually leads into my next question really nicely, because I'm curious, what has been your biggest challenge so far in starting that new business?
I think my biggest challenge, honestly, was probably marketing at the beginning. For the first year or two, I feel like it's really just getting your business's name out there. Even in a town as small as Sandusky, you've really got to make that push and put in the effort. So I've spent a lot of time and energy on things like social media, kind of working with other small businesses around town to see how we could work together. And, that's what led to the baked goods and to the flowers and to the local authors. I spend a lot of time at Staples, honestly, printing out things like flyers and posters, figuring out where the best place for those lives. So, yeah, I think marketing was one of the really tough things for me at the beginning.
So you've been open, about a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years? Mm-hmm. What's been the most rewarding part of it?
The most rewarding part has absolutely been building a sense of community, I think. I came back and I moved back to town, not really expecting to be able to walk outside and just see familiar faces, but because of the bar and because of the regulars that we've kind of amassed along the way, everywhere I go, I see someone I know. And it's just kind of a really cool feeling to be able to just have that comfort in town and to have that just feeling of community around me.
So you mentioned the cafe kind of has a vibe. How did you come up with that? And what is it about it? Explain for somebody who's never been, what are you going to find when you walk into Sandusky Book Bar?
I would describe it as very low key and relaxed. We've got dark everything, kind of darker wood floors. We've got darker green walls, dark bookshelves. The lighting's a little bit dim. Not too dark that you can't read and that you can't sit around and hang out with your friends, but dark enough that it's just a relaxing feeling. So we get a lot of folks who come and just read for the day, study for the day, work for the day, things like that. So they're still comfortable doing those things. But at night, we get a lot of, couples, date nights, things like that, girls hanging out together. So it's just kind of an atmosphere where we just want you to sit around and have a good time for a little bit.
And I love how, it's kind of something for everyone. Like if you just want a quiet space and you want a warm cup of coffee and read a book, that is an option. That's, kind of what it's like in the morning and during the day. But if you're looking for something, fun and interesting, gather with friends, join your trivia and your bingo and enjoy some fun cocktails. You guys have that as well. So you kind of, cater to many different audiences. And I also love that it can be used as an event space. That's a fantastic opportunity as well. So lastly, Janie, can you tell me what some of your favorite drinks are that you guys are serving?
We have this pear martini that we developed a long time ago, and it remains my favorite drink on the menu. I actually stock pear vodka specifically for that drink because I love it so much. And right now we've got our Season of Love menu still going, though we're going to switch that out soon. But a couple drinks on the Season of Love menu. We've got this, it's kind of like a cranberry mimosa called the Lover. That's excellent, and I drink a lot of that. And our most popular latte lately has been our butterbeer latte, which is meant to kind of get a little bit into that Harry Potter fandom, but it's delicious, caramely, butterscotch. It's so good.
Ooh, that does sound amazing. And besides coffee, do you have teas or other kinds of drinks?
Yeah, we have a pretty wide selection of teas. We have a whole list of mocktails and a lot of kid-friendly drinks like steamers, hot chocolates, lemonades, things like that.
Oh, yeah. I never even thought about that. It's a great place to take the family as well if everybody's into books and wants to have a fun drink. You guys you mentioned the puzzle nights. Do you have puzzles and games and things like that to keep the kids entertained?
Oh, we have shelves and shelves of puzzles and games.
And are those things for sale or are those just things that you have for hanging out?
If people ask to buy them, I won't turn them down. If you're that dedicated to taking home that game with you, sure.
I love it. As far as books go, do you have a favorite series? Are you a part of a fandom?
Oh, gosh, that's a tough one. I've always been a massive Harry Potter fan, but selfishly, I made this A Court of Thorns and Roses trivia because I love A Court of Thorns and Roses so much. But luckily, it's had a pretty solid online turnout already. So it's nice to know that I'm not the only one.
Yeah, for sure. So some of those books, are those some of the books that you have in stock? Do you have a good variety of fiction and nonfiction and biographies and things like that?
We do. I would say it's about half and half fiction, nonfiction. What we have in stock really just depends on what has been donated and what's still available. So, for example, we did actually have a couple of the Court of Thorns and Roses books, but those were sold very quickly. So It really depends on what's popular and what is donated. that determines what happens on our shelves.
Yeah, that's what I said. What, I kind of think is unique about a used bookstore. You never know what you're going to find, and you might come across, oh yeah, I've really wanted to read that. And, I assume that it's slightly cheaper there than it would be at the big box store or the chain bookstore because it's loved.
Yeah, exactly. We kind of take a look at everything by condition and what the book is really. And oftentimes it ends up being about 50% of the list price, 50 to 70%, or the lowest price that you can find online. So I try to be pretty, flexible with how we price our books because I feel like the goal is ultimately just to find a new home for it.
Yeah. And do you also have children's books?
We sure do. We have a whole section for children's, that middle grade age going into young adult.
Oh, perfect. I have a 15-year-old who just is obsessed with books. So also obsessed with coffee drinks. So I think I know where we're going to be.
Found the perfect place for your 15-year-old.
Absolutely. So also, can you tell for the listeners just exactly where are you located if they're not familiar with, the old YMCA, and what are your current hours? How are you guys operating?
Yeah, we're located at 2101 West Perkins Ave, which is kind of across from Old Railroad on Perkins Ave. And our hours right now for the winter are Monday and Tuesday. We're open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Wednesday through Friday, we're open 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, we're open 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. That will be changing as we get into Cedar Point, traffic time of year. But For now, that's what we're looking at.
I assume that the hours are expanded in the summer, like maybe a little bit later for the patio.
Yes, of course, because I want everyone to catch that beautiful sunset.
And of course, where can people go to get more information on the Sandusky Book Bar?
They could go to our website at sanduskybookbar.com, and we also have a presence on Facebook and Instagram, so they can find us at Sandusky Book Bar on both of those social media platforms.
Awesome. Sounds like a really fun place to hang out. And hopefully when people are visiting the Sandusky area, they will come and check out the Sandusky Book Bar. So thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for the time.
Of course. Again, special thanks to Janie Ahner, and thanks to Amanda for joining me earlier as well. If you want to find out more amazing women executives, business owners, Shores and Islands team members, and even some local women in history, be sure you're following along with us on all of our social media platforms as well. Megan is over there sharing some really cool stuff for the month of March. And of course, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, so you don't miss a minute of the action here in Shores and Islands, Ohio. You can also find more information, including past episodes of this podcast, online at shoresandislands.com. And we will see you next time on The Shoreline.